All right, guys, it's 8:52. It's March 6th. It's not 6:30 because usually I do the 6:30 club Monday through Thursdays, and I mentioned I would start doing some on Fridays for those who subscribe to Red Dog Mindset, which is the subscribe button above. But I will do it for everyone because everyone is thinking about the day, the week. It's been a complicated one. It definitely has not been easy. There's been volatility. There's been things to do, but between the headlines and the thrashing in this range, I could see why some are a little bit frustrated. So I get it. I want to make sure that this is live. Is this live there, Conrad? All right. So anyway, it was a week. It was a tough, tricky week, in my opinion. You came in on Monday. Remember that we came in on Monday, and all of a sudden we were down 40 handles, and a lot of things went red to green. I know I was pretty risk down. I had some puts on. I sold half the puts. I bought some stocks, and everything was kind of moving along real well. And then all of a sudden, the following day, you had that big move down. We were down 120 handles. A lot of guys were like, why didn't we do this on Monday? It happened on Tuesday. Can't cry about it. And then we pushed up. And then yesterday was a little loose and wide. So I come in pretty flat and flexible. So I'm actually thinking this wouldn't be the worst thing if we actually, break the range and see different areas, because the trading recently has been, range trades. Yes, there's been things to do. Software has been viable since the low. We've had a bunch of different types of trades, but ultimately, with the macro news and the environment we're in, it felt like the indices should have been pressured more, and they just weren't. So now maybe we'll see. SPYs right now in the jobs report is at 673. So after the jobs number, I'm like, wow. I'm like, friggin', that's a bad number. So you have, we're losing jobs. So everyone's going to talk about jobs apocalypse. Iran is going to probably go on for who knows how much longer. Oil's higher. Like, what the hell are they doing trying to rally the SPYs? And a lot of people started shorting them at 677. If that was you, congratulations. Here's where we are. So right now we're back below 675. Do we stay below 675? Let's simplify it. Do we stay below 675? If we stay below 675, then you have the low of the week. That's 669.60. Okay, 3 points away. That would probably be a spot where you want to try verse just in case. A lot of people are like, hey, Red Dog, could you give us some levels from your weekly chart? What are you going to do with the blood in the street account? What are you going to do with some of your long-term stuff besides your active trading, which I'm very tactical right now. 2 months ago, when you're trending, I had like 30 positions on. Now I have a few leftover options that didn't make money, some puts on, and I have no equity longs. By the way, this is the alpha team. This is the alpha team right here. The alpha team is a team of individuals that I trade with all day long right now. We have about 239 people on there posting news, talking levels. As you see, like last time you've seen the alpha team, I've had I would have like 15 longs because we were above the 8-21 day. One of my rules is if you're above the 8-21 day, you have some swing longs. If you're below, you're day trading, making cash flow. There are people tactical day trading, making cash flow, and that's been great. If you've been in positions because you have an opinion, this and that, it hasn't been so great. So anyway, I have some leftover longs that sucked. MSOS was horrible. I apologize. Friend of mine begged me to buy it in January, even for Chase. My friend's like, hey, buy it. It's anyway. So I do have leftover options, which is fine. That's fine. It happens. Risk is premium paid. I also have some puts on that'll probably help this, and then we'll see what's going on anyway. So with that being said, it's good to be tactical. It's good to come in and have a system and a process, and we'll see if we can make some tactical cash flow, because there have been some things acting better. So anyway, this is the weekly chart, so you can write some things down. Okay, again, right here, the SPYs are at 672.20. So here's your weekly chart. This is 669. Where 662 is 5% off highs. The S&P is not even 5% off highs. So as broken and bent as so many things feel, the indices have been masking the weakness underneath the surface. So with that being said, some guys like Red Dog, when do you buy your wife's blood in the street account? It doesn't even start until here. And hopefully, it does it in a way where you have some crazy spike in the VIX and we're down huge and the oscillator goes to minus 70. And maybe I'd love to see it come into 650-ish. And that probably is not today. We got to see what happens today first, but that's where I'd like to put tier 1 of the blood in the street account. Guys like Red Dog, the blood in the street account is 18 for 18. And that's true because I wait for 6-7% off the highs, I do tier 1, 10, 11% off the highs, tier 2. Last year when we went down 21%, I was able to get 3 tiers involved. That was great. Anyway, if you don't have a Blunder Street account, you have a 401k, just put your monthly money in. Every single month, put your monthly money in. Long-term, the bull market wins. So long-term 401k in, 529 if you have a kid in middle school that you want to save for college. I remember during this too, I put in a few extra payments to the 529, even here, to buy the dip to create long-term money because university costs are through the damn roof. Even if Chase plays basketball, I'm just saying. But anyway, so write down 662, write down 650.85. Okay, that is something to think about. But first, obviously, we got to see what happens today. Do they stay down? Does it stay below 675? Okay, and we'll see. As far as key spots for other sectors, okay, IWM, does it hold 253, 254? Where's the IWM right now? Let's see. IWM is down 5. Wow, it already broke that fast. It's been curling down. Remember when you were above the 8-day here where there was momentum? Well, we now are below it. So no one I know is in the IWM. No one actively trading because what are we doing? We're below the 21 day. But anyway, so, and then you have the Qs, which are very important. The Qs are now down 9. Down 9. All right, good. Let's get a little volatility. Let's get a real friggin' move. I'm not saying I'm not a bear. Right? Everyone knows I'm not a really good short, and I am not a bear. But the recent trading has been a little tricky the past few weeks. Whenever they look good, they come lower. Whenever you think they're going to break, they're buyable, and it's been range trading. And to me, that's not the easiest environment. But anyway, we'll see what happens today. So the Qs, real quickly, you have 593, 591. That's the recent area. Okay. Does it stay below that? Where are we now? So the Qs right now are 599. We only have 599. That's not even, so we're not even, this is what? This is 593 and this is 591. So Qs have a lot of room. The Qs haven't even, Qs are just up here. So tech is acting better because of the liquidity, maybe because of the dividends, because of the buybacks. But anyway, so what's going to also tell us if we break further? So a few clues. Google's been holding the 100-day. Will Google get below 296 and stay below it? If so, there's a lot of room below. Some of my friends are actually shorting Google. We'll see how that goes. If you're not in Google, I'm not in it. See if there's a level, how it reacts. If it stays below 296, which is the recent floor, there's a lot of room below. And it has not been acting special. We are only in swing longs that are above the 21 day. And that was this period. And guess where it broke at 337? That was your spot to get the hell out of the way. Anyway, so does it stay below? That's just the key for today. Yesterday I talked about Apple. We used 260 as a key spot. And it also, look at this, failure 271. That's when I got out of my swing trade. You had a little inside wedge. And now this is lower today. Where's Apple right now? Let's see, where's Apple right now? Down 3 at 257. Does it hold 257 or not? If it doesn't, then that's going to pressure the indices. Sometimes money comes to Apple because it's like a safety trade, but we'll see. Rocket Lab continued short. I don't know. I don't think anyone's really short Rocket Lab. It's just no one's really long it. For me, if you're going to look at one of these, I would look at ASTS. ASTS has been best in breed. I will look at this today. ASTS had a nice move here. ASTS, held 77, got above 88, went to 107, and pulled back to the moving averages. So let's see where ASTS is this morning. ASTS is down 4 at 89-ish. Probably not the worst spot. 88-ish is where it broke above. That's right around here. What you could do is you can go out next week, maybe next Friday, and sell the $88 puts. It's a way to, they'll probably be $2, get a decent price. But we'll see. Sometimes these type of air stocks change. I know it's been acting better, but I will look at ASTS. I'd rather see you do that than Rocket Labs. Rocket Labs is a laggard, so go with the leader. On days like today, you really want to go where there's liquidity. You want to go where the quality is because these things could be so loose and wide and thin. So, but again, I'd rather see you with ASTS at around 88-ish versus Rocket Labs. Oil names. So somebody said, Red Dog, look at USO. I'm like, okay, so this is the USO. You have to have it up because that's what the computers are are now programmed at. A lot of people made money on USO. Look at this gap and go above 82. Anyway, what's USO? USO is now up 8.8%. I would not be buying the USO up 8.8%. You already kind of missed it, But again, you go to the weekly chart, and it's interesting. Sometimes you got to do the daily and the weekly. The weekly will show you that, hey, this 106 is a pretty big spot. If you're long it, I would trim some. If you're looking to short, that's not a bad spot to maybe fade against, maybe. And then 128 is a bit higher. You could probably go sell a little bit of calls. I'm actually thinking about with the USO here at 105, maybe the 108s or the 110s, you sell some premium. But again, then you're putting yourself in harm's way of some kind of super spike. Maybe if something blows up over the weekend, it might not just be worth it. Microsoft. Okay, good answer. Good question, Phil. The software sector has been a great place the last 2 weeks. It was the punching bag of the market for 3 months, but then things change, and it's your job to figure out when they change, and we all did that together. So let's go back to the daily chart. I would definitely be trimming USO if you're long it. And then IGV has been buyable on dips. Yes, it has. A lot of people are starting to get very bullish on it now. I'm like, how the hell are you getting bullish on this now? Where were you when it did a red dog reversal at 76.42? That was a great spot. Where were you when it took back the overthrow, right there, the false breakdown? That was a great spot. Came to resistance. Where were you when you could have been buying versus 80? And then it took out this neckline of this inverted head and shoulders pattern. Now, I'll look there today too, just because buyers have been coming here. It's only down to $142, but that could change. Microsoft has been great too. Look at Microsoft. Microsoft gave you the red dog reversal. I remember I bought it that day. On this day, the red dog reversal from 553 down, not catching a falling knife. It went below, went to 381, reclaimed it. Boom, 3-day move. Day count, buy day 1, add day 2, trim will get out day 3. If it goes up day 4, day 5, who cares? Then you were able to buy versus 390 at 411. So yeah, Microsoft is worth a look this morning. Microsoft's down 4. What's the low here? This low from yesterday is what? This is 404. So I would look at it versus 404. I made some decent money in CRM yesterday. I don't think I'm going to buy more options. So why they do CRM? Because the what's it called? The CEO was going to be on fast money. Software is doing well. So I'm like, you know what? I could buy the $200 calls, and I bought it on this inside day. It's always better to buy options on a down day. And then yesterday I sold a bunch into this 204 move. So this should hold 199 if it's any good. QUBT, I wouldn't look at like a QUBT or an IONQ. Don't look at these 3rd, 4th, 5th tier sectors. Look at the best of the best, so you have at least a fighting chance if you get caught there. Tesla went green yesterday. It looked pretty tight. I'm not in Tesla, thank goodness. Tesla right now is down 7. Probably worth a look. 398. What's this low here yesterday? 399. What's the low here? This is 394. It's been struggling to hold the 200-day. Tesla is not special. It's not like it was here where it failed at 500. But in here, it's worth a look. I'll look at it today, see if there's a signal. What's a signal? Futures go a lot lower, continue to make lower lows of SPYs, the Qs, and all of a sudden, Tesla stops going down. Hey, maybe it's worth a look. So Tesla's on my radar. Plus, electric vehicles, maybe it's programmed with the computers where oil up, you might want an electric car because gasoline is through the roof. Anyway, what SPY is doing now? 670, 270. All right. Getting a little bit more interesting versus this range sloppy crap, which we've been in. Jonathan says, is there a point when we should look at actual short trades? I'm in puts. I'm in SPY puts. The short trades have been hard. If you press on a down move, you've been hurt. If you pressed on Tuesday with the SPYs on 120 handles, chances are, half an hour later, you were underwater when 675 got reclaimed. So shorting, yes, there are a lot of names that have been trending down, but you got to be careful if you're a short. For me, I'm a better long. I'd rather be in cash out of the way and do selective shorts. I sold premium all day yesterday. Every time the SPYs rallied, I was selling premium in the SPYs and collecting. That's how I like to be short. You could do that also. NVIDIA is worth a look today. So let's look at the semis. 177 is yesterday's low. So I would put up the group. So here is Marvell, which is up on earnings. AVGO, okay, came out earnings yesterday. They're out of the way. This 323 better hold, otherwise it's in trouble. Hold on. And then where is NVIDIA? NVIDIA is a 179. Okay, so how would I look at this? So I would say, hey, first, let's look at AVGO. AVGO came out with numbers yesterday, was strong. If Avago is going to be okay, this is the chart that I posted. Hold on, where is it? Right here. So I always do the chart with an active plan. Okay, so this was yesterday. It gapped above 323, which is right there, went to resistance, which we talked about. So does it hold 323? Can this hold 323 and make it easy to buy and make it worth your while to be in any kind of swing? Because sometimes all swings in a down market don't work. So 323 is a spot. So you go back to here, Avago's at 325, down 7. So maybe you could buy Avago versus 323. That's a decent risk reward. Marvell, you're watching to see how much of the gap upholds. If that goes red today, not going to look great. NVIDIA, also a key. So I'll go to NVIDIA. If it holds 170, this is just how my mind thinks. If NVIDIA holds 177 and they can't sell Marvell down and Avago holds that spot, maybe the semis are a spot to gravitate towards. I don't have a portfolio hedge, Jonathan. So on the weekends, I post my roadmap to success, which I will post again this weekend, where I have 7 accounts. I have a 401k that goes in every month. I'm not hedging against that. That just goes into an S&P related mutual fund. Okay. My wife has a 403b. She is in private practice. She's a neuropsychologist. 403b. I'm 53. She'll be 50. We're doing that. That's the cost average game for long-term wealth. 529. My son's a junior. Been doing it since he's 5. Long-term account. Whole life insurance, long-term. That's Scott Redler. Active account. I have a trading account where I try and make money like I will do today, where I could be buying NVIDIA versus 177. I'm not long NVIDIA because NVIDIA is not special. If you trade for a living and you want to get paid in March, you only hold swing trades that are above the 821 day. You don't hold them below. So I'm not in that. I am not in Google. No reason to be in Google. Google broke its special trend here. So anyway, so I have an active account that I'll be trading. I have a swing account that's in cash. My swing account's in cash because there's not much above the 821 day, so I'm out of the way there. I have some options on that I tried because risk is premium paid, and I have a box. So those are my 7 accounts. So for today, I'm going to try and make tactical cash flow as an active trader, as a 53-year-old, the way I did when I was 22-year-old. Actually, I wasn't 22. It was just 1998. I started trading a little later. I did a bunch of other things. But anyway, if you have everything combined because you don't trade for a living and you have a big IRA with $1 million in it, and you have longs and you have hedges and this and that, then that's a whole nother ball of wax. I try and kind of treat myself as a mini PM, and create money quarterly. So anyway, MU with the BS lump into. So SanDisk, by the way, started acting not as special as it was, right? SanDisk broke 607, which it did. Got most people out, went to 557, retested it, and traded down yesterday. SanDisk is worth a look. So SanDisk is down 17 now, below 557. This is 540. This is 497. So you have a lot of way. It can go down a lot more, so see what happens. This has been a stronger sector, but it lost special status there. That's what happens. Anyway, with that said, UNH, I guess maybe some, there's a gap above. It's tight. Maybe some money flows there. It's a broken name. Maybe it goes into there. Okay. At least it's tight. You could base your decisions on a tight chart, not loose and wide. Anyway, it is 9/11. Oh, 9/11. A lot of friends that passed away on 9/11. I did. So with that being said, now we're in another conflict, the Mideast conflict. So I would, have gratitude for sitting in your chair ready to trade, and thank a service member, thank someone for their service, whether it's a police officer or military, because they're out there friggin' risking their lives so you could friggin' have the freedoms that we have here, in the US and everywhere. It's not, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but just have perspective. Trading is tough. You might be in a little bit of a hole, but you can work your way out of it. You're not, in a bunker somewhere in the Mideast, and you're not digging ditches. So with that being said, how hard do you really have it? So Reddit, Someone hasn't said the word Reddit in a while. That's broke. Oh my God, that's horrible. Reddit broke its special status here. Got a little small channel. Okay, great. Bitcoin. That's what we're going to go home with. We're not going to go home with, but then I got to go because I got to be with the alpha team and get ready to go here. Bitcoin is, remember I actually in the 6:30 club on Wednesday, I said I can go to 74, and that's where I'd be a seller, and that's where it went. Not because I'm a genius, not because I have an algorithmic think tank, it's because that's where the 50-day is. Maybe it can go. So now I better hold around here. Otherwise, it's just nothing that you need to stick with. We made some good money in Robinhood. I sold mine yesterday. It gave you a move from the red dog reversal here and a red dog reversal here. It hit 85, so I get out of the way. So now we'll see what does it do today. So if you're trading a different group, like this was your semiconductor group, okay, then you got to switch it to your crypto group, right? Hopefully you have a crypto group together. That's IBIT down $1.42. Robinhood down 3 into the 76 area. Coin gave you a big move. So, I have my 6 monitors set up in groups so I could see the inside market and I could see what's leading what, and that's how I make my decisions, not listening to people who've played fake traders on TV. If you see anyone on TV at lunchtime and at 5 o'clock, chances are they're not in their desk trading. They're on the road. They're putting together their rundowns. They're going through the rundown on TV, and they're talking about their trading. They're not like you making a living trying to push buttons and feed your family. But anyway, so have your levels, have your sectors, have multiple plans. Keep your mind right so you can execute with confidence. That's the only way you're going to make a living out there. Not listening to people, not even me. I'm not even telling you to do anything. I'm just giving you spots. Here we are with the SPYs. 672 is below 675. 669 is a spot. Qs are acting better. Does it play downside catch up? 593 is a spot. IWM is below that spot. It's below, 253. Does it stay below or not? Those are spots. One spot is worth a look, and then there's another spot worth a look, and then there's things that give you clues on how to react around those spots. Anyway, with that being said, we'll see how it goes. You definitely need to have the USOs up there. It's dictating a lot that goes on in these sectors. You definitely need to know where things are at in their ranges, because it's been a range trade, and you have to have your mind right. So my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. We have the alpha team that's going to be trading together all day long. My note is already out, my 40 charts. Red Dog Mindset is that subscriber above. We did our workout this morning. If you like the 630 Club and you never want to lose it, you should become a member and subscribe there. So you always have that access to the 25, 20, and 630 Club. At some point, you might not. And if you're on the alpha team in T3, you're always going to have the 630 Club. But if you've been watching the 630 Club for free, since 2020 when it started, you might want to make sure you don't lose that at some point. Mac, I disagree respectfully. Listen to Red Dog. Somebody's talking smack? You're allowed. Cost. COST. What's it doing today? I haven't really looked at this in a while. It's down 4. If I was in this, I would have got out yesterday. Why? Because it broke below the 8-day moving average, closing the lows. Below the 8 and 21-day, you're out. So if you got out yesterday of Costco, hey, maybe you can give it a shot at the 50-day. I tell you, if you sold the 8-day, you could test the 50, 100, and 200-day. Or if you sold in the 8 and 21-day when the momentum left and you're an active trader, you're out of the way to test levels versus holding your nose and going to water. You don't do that as a trader. It's unnecessary. If you're an investor, hey, a good trade that turns into a bad trade probably turns you into an investor. No, I'm kidding. No, but there are, if you've been in Costco for 10 years, you don't care that this happened, right? The same way if you've been in NVIDIA for 5 years, you don't care that, NVIDIA, failed at 193.80 like if you were a trader. Now we see it doesn't hold 177. All right, guys, I got to jump. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. We'll see what today brings. Cooler heads always prevail. Multiple plans are a key. And having your mind right so you could execute on your X's and O's is the only way you're going to make a living and be consistent.